Now here is an incident that would not occur with our latest models, which are fitted with a reverse gear so that in face of a steep gradient such as this, the complete car may be turned round and pushed up backwards, thus giving the passengers the opportunity of getting a better grip on the radiator, which is comfortably warmed, rather than the back axle, which entails a good deal of unnecessary stooping. Now approaching us is a party of happy stand-back owners coming back from a run in the country. The model they are using is known as the hiker's model, which combines the healthy exercise of hiking with the thrills of speeding through the country lanes in a really fine motor car. What I'm going to show you now will be of great interest to our sales staff. It represents the latest range of stand-back spring models, and I'm sure our sales staff will be greatly encouraged to know that they are handling such a saleable little job. The range of horsepower of these models, which you see in front of you, varies from 1 to 50, but in the higher powered models a special fixed reduction in the tax may be obtained owing to the fact that in every case several of the horses have died. It's advisable that customers of the Stand-Back Motor Company should keep this information to themselves for taxation purposes and should ascertain how many horses are actually living at the time of sale. Should the number be below 3, it is advisable for the customer to invest in a bottle of our famous stand-back horse-reviving fluid, which if put into the radiator will bring the car up to the necessary horsepower.
I'm still talking about motor cars, Henry. I wish you'd use the film I've given you and not try and fit into what I'm talking about. What's the matter now? You've caught your finger in the machine? Well, go on without your fingernail fussing.
As I have already mentioned, our directors have had great difficulty in obtaining round wheels. Therefore, after intensive research work on the part of our laboratory staff, we've evolved this stand-back police model, which has been sold to the flying squad of the Rutland Police Force. This model is particularly adapted to police work owing to its stealthy approach. And here is an example of another wheelless model. Arising out of this, we have opened a new department known as the Aquatic Sports Department. This is a handy little machine which may be taken on the river, and in some cases it has even been used in a swimming bath, but usually the river is more satisfactory. And now, gentlemen, I should like to give you an illustration of the keenness of the stand-back staff. Actually, on this motorboat which you see before you now was the entire personnel of our laboratory, who after days and nights of tireless research produced this splendid little craft. And this is a picture of the first test that was made. They were all drowned, and the model was later abandoned, if I remember rightly. Here is an intimate little picture for you. Lady Stand-Back herself taking tea with Lord Stand-Back on his return from his recent holiday when he took up a course of geology at Parkhurst. And now, gentlemen, I'm going to show you the most important event in the history of our company, our magnificent performance in the great cross-country race ending at Daytona Sands, a race against such formidable opponents as Mr. Watney, Mr. Coombe, and Mr. Reed. Our pilot, Mr. Keating, the well-known huntsman, starting from scratch, with Mr. Home of the Colonial Stores as his mechanic, was dogged by bad luck in this race, as shortly after the start, Mr. Home caught his foot in the gearbox, which rather delayed matters. This is one of the most interesting moments of the race, Pikes Peak corner, with our opponents well ahead. Where are the stand-back cars? Ah, here they come. Let us follow them for a moment, gentlemen, and it may interest you to see the grim look of determination on Mr. Keating's face. Mr. Home, having got his foot out of the gearbox, from now on the success of our team was never for a moment in doubt. Now for the finish. Here we have our most formidable opponent, looking with very natural disgust at the approach of the stand-back cars. He started well, but in the end he could not stand up to the march of modern science. And as an instance of his appreciation of the stand-back car, it is interesting to note that only last week he purchased 11 of our 1934 models, 2 of which are still in active working order.
Now, gentlemen, I think that what I have shown you should give you redoubled confidence in the position of the firm, and I think we ought all of us to be very satisfied. Truly enough, we haven't declared a dividend, but then it's early days for that yet. After all, we've only been in liquidation for 10 years. And now, gentlemen, I'm not even going to ask you for a vote of confidence, because I feel, as I know you feel, that they're dozing.